How good does it feel to remember? The good times, bad times. We keep coming back for more. On this episode of the Disc Dungeon, Julian and I put each other on to two artists that have mastered the art of chill intensity, delivering hit after hit of nostalgic delight straight through our dopamine receptors. Join us as we let ourselves be transported.
So, Joe, we're back at it again.
Back in the dark depths of the Disc Dungeon, bringing you those delicious, salacious melodies.
I like that. Salacious.
Salacious.
It reminds me of Walt Clive Frazier when he does the, what's the person who tells you as the game is going? What's their name? What's
the MC, the master of ceremonies?
The teleprompter. No. When there's a basketball game going, the guy who's
the color commentator.
The commentator. There you go. I'm like, oh my god, what's the word? But Walt Frazier's got these words. He's swishing and dishing.
Yeah. He was famous for that. Yeah,
man. But speaking of Walt Clay Frazier, bringing it back, the Knicks haven't won championship since the 70s, the 60s with Walt Clay Frazier. Walt Clay Frazier.
There it is. Everything's full circle.
So full circle here.
Full circle of losers.
Full circle is that we're listening to music that's kind of transporting us to a similar time, not the 70s, maybe more like the 80s.
Yeah, definitely the 80s, especially the one I put you into.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with that, man. You put me on to Atlas by FM84.
FM84.
So I had never heard them before.
No.
You put me on to some good stuff, man. I didn't. First of all, I didn't. You know, I love a good instrumental.
Yes.
When it's tasteful and when it's well done, and this has half the album is instrumentals.
Yeah.
So I liked, man. So just wanted to start off with Everything, which is the first album on the song. Well, song on the album, I should say. Got my
first album on the song.
Got my twos and my ones and my ones and my twos.
Yeah, there we go.
Everything hits you with an 80s freestyle. Well, I can't ever say that word. Freestyle. 80s freestyle drum, and then soaks your ears in some glam pop synths, like sprinkles over some good ass vanilla ice cream. Honestly, that's what I felt at the moment. You know, some of these notes that I have are just kind of like that initial thought or feeling I have when I'm listening to it for the first time.
That's a smart way to do it.
And everything made me feel, everything that you would feel in the 80s.
Yeah, I really felt like I was spraying my hair to have that finished curl, to make sure it would stand up.
Spraying your hair, you said?
Yeah, aerosol cans used to spray everything. And they realized, this is putting a hole in those. I'm like, we gonna die. So they got rid of it.
We gonna die today. All right, so everything was great. Honestly, it just comes in and it's like the beginning of every 80s movie. That's really what this song embodies. Running in the Night is the commercial success of this album. It is honestly an amazing song. I mean, it's the single, but it's really good.
Yeah.
It's
incredible.
You can't knock it anyway. It's an instant classic. It's on my rotation monthly, at least. I'm listening to it. It's coming up. So many feels from the song. The 80s are lucky this didn't come out.
This would have toe up the 80s.
Oh, by the way, guys, this album came out in, what was it, 2016? Let's check right here, 2016.
Yeah.
This song literally could have been in the 80s.
This could, 85 easily.
And artists in the 80s would have been shitting bricks because
they would have never been able to touch these guys. You're like, what are they doing? Oh my God.
Right. Tears, it's a good song, but it's just there's so many good songs on this album that it didn't get one of my little Spotify hearts. Right? Not because it was bad, it's just because, it wasn't at the level of Running in the Night, for example.
Yeah, that's a tough one to beat.
Yeah. Chasing Yesterday makes me really appreciate FM. They're not afraid to start the album off with three instrumental songs, and on top of that, these are all on the slower side, and that can go wrong and get boring really quick, but the nostalgic drip kept hitting
through.
We're going to talk more about that, guys, because nostalgia is one of the reoccurring themes in the music and the theme, and just
the industry, like even movie industries. What they're doing is they're taking classic songs that you love, and they're remixing them in the trailer to go, "Oh, I really like that song. I'm gonna go watch that movie because of that song." They like the creator that just came out.
Oh man, we're so just. I know sometimes humans just disappoint me.
Yeah,
we're so predictable.
One trick ponies.
Let's Talk. Come on, let's talk. He gets really soulful. It's an epic makeup song. Feels like an 80s movie scene where the girl is longing for the bad boy, imagining herself with him on a long walk under the moonlit sky, but he fucked up. So she's home crying on the phone to her friend. Jokes aside, this transports a whole lot of feels into you. It makes you want to start hip thrusting and shit, and slow and steady and way in the pocket. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know. You guys aren't seeing what I'm doing right now.
This is very. Oh my goodness!
But my hands are clenched in fists.
Yeah, if I was Mrs. Julian, it'd be over right now.
Right, exactly. This is that's Let's Talk.
Yeah.
In a
nutshell.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Next one is Arcade Summer. Okay, so now I'm on the way to the arcade store with my new Nikes on, about to see the girl I secretly loved all summer. And now it's my time. Nikes are all the sauce I needed because she said yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's an apt name, Arcade Summer. It's literally you're going to the arcade in the summer. It's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah. I miss those days, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I went to an arcade here and there when I was young, but it definitely wasn't how it was as impactful as in you or maybe younger generations.
Yeah, no, for me, it was like Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter. It was like, go to the arcade, you catch the eye of the girl from the other side of town. And yeah. All right, well, keep going.
Just a gentle reminder that the years keep going by.
Mm-hmm.
Wild Ones has a dope line in harmony. I bet you think you're kind of dangerous. I bet you think you're kind of dangerous.
There's so many hooks.
Really good, guys. I mean, I know I sound like a little girl at a boy band concert right now, but that's because it's just really good.
What's the one now? It's B2K or whatever.
Oh, BTS.
BTS. Oh God, B2K. I think that's a serial killer. Well, there's a dungeon. No,
it's not Giglio, is it?
No.
The next song is "Don't Want to Change Your Mind." This is my favorite song on the album. I got the feels like from Running in the Night at a slower pace and some more soul and grit, and I don't know. I just feel like, white boy over here getting his R&B game on a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I can appreciate that. I can. This song's here for trying. I mean, obviously, Running in the Night, I can tell why it was more of a commercial success because it was faster. It was more fast moving, right?
Oh, Running in the Night. It was so good.
By Joe Palmer.
Listen to the original. It's much better.
Then we got Atlas Interlude. As the name implies, it's a cacophony of synths and choir, short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter is my favorite instrumental on the album for sure. It got the right dose of everything. I like just have like good attitude and a kiss building.
This one, if you ever saw Running Man, this is like the song that was playing when they're getting ready for the grand finale, the last. Well, if you go and watch Running Man.
I'm going to act like I know.
Yeah, totally. No, go and watch Running Man and then listen to this song and you'll be like, yeah, that belongs in that movie.
Gotcha. But no, it's definitely good. And honestly, I don't know. I just think that the name of the song is pretty spot on too. Like,
Yeah.
It's just, Jupiter is just, next song is Goodbye. And now's too late to say goodbye, he says. It's another passionate drum, heavy rock ballad, doused in 80s synthwave. Again, just like everything being the start of every 80s film or song back in the day, Goodbye is exactly what it says.
Yeah.
It's goodbye. It's saying goodbye in the most 80s way possible. Honestly, this gets a 10 out of 10, man. It's got so many songs that are in my rotation already. I love finding instrumentals because what I do, guys, is whenever I'm doing my studying or I'm working or anything, I always have some instrumental playing. And I like to switch. I'll go through some like jazz vibes, some beats, some like piano music, some soundscapes, right? Because I've obviously, it's proven how instrumentals,
really get you going. Get the mind, get the gears and the old cog and the brain there going.
Right. And so honestly, 3-4 of these instrumentals, they make their rotation into my dark playlist.
Yes, in the dark depths of Julian's discs.
In Julian's discs. But bro, I put you on to something that came out a little more recently, not too much. It came out in 2021. 2021, if I'm not mistaken. We're about to pull up this data right now. 2022, guys.
Yeah.
So this came out about 2 years ago at this point. And honestly, the reason why I put you onto this, man, was because I started listening to this. The first time I heard this was when we made our road trip to South Carolina to check out the venue for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Right. So this was on repeat going there. And as you can, I mean, you've heard the album now. So as you can imagine, we're driving down, we rented this Prius and we're just like, bum, bum, bum. Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. So, sir, tell me what you thought.
This was an incredible album. The name of the album is Fragments from Bonobo, not to be confused with Bobo. It is dance and electronic. You're like, how would you get?
Well, anyway. Bobo in Colombia, it means dumb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it means like
definitely not dumb.
But it's also kind of it has become like an endearing thing. Like, oh, you're so dumb. Like Kibo. Like, oh, you're so dumb. Like, kind of like, you know.
Yeah, and a loving but dummy.
Yeah, I'm calling you dumb, but I love you.
Yeah, in a loving way. So let's go song by song. Polyghost, dope intro. Amazing way to set up. It's got so many chill vibes. I kind of feel like homeboy brought me to Japan and let me walk around the Japanese tree, you know, those maple tree gardens that they have?
Yeah.
Japanese cherry blossom.
Cherry
I felt
blossoms.
like the cherry blossoms were falling. That's why I couldn't think of it. Meanwhile, those are all over Newark. There's more cherry blossoms in Newark than there are in Japan, I heard right now.
But they came from Japan, though.
Yeah, they came from, like, they got them and then they got them and they brought them to DC. And then somebody in DC was like, "Oh, bring these to Newark," and then they like went crazy.
Honestly, now that I think about it, the word cherry blossom and the concept of cherry blossoms and the image of cherry blossoms have been in my life lately a lot. Like,
really,
we were in DC and we were by the cherry blossoms.
Oh, you made it.
We were in the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens and we saw the cherry blossoms. Yeah. I'm watching an anime right now where
always cherry blossoms. Anime. That's like everything. And the sword goes and then cherry blossoms.
But this particular episode, the guy lived on like a frozen tundra and he found a way to make cherry blossoms bloom in
that's
snow.
Dope. What's the name of that? Tell me later.
One Piece.
Oh yeah, One Piece. Sorry. Yeah, I saw that. Freaking love it. All right. So Shadows, another dope song. It's Jordan Raki is an amazing artist.
We really, I mean, if an artist ever listens to this episode, we apologize ahead of time, guys.
I'm not very good at name pronunciation.
Because we're just not good at this.
Yeah, but if we interview you, believe me, I'll take the time. I'll put your name on YouTube and have it pronounced.
To learn your name.
Yeah, I'll make sure. So, reach out. Let's talk. Yeah, great song. Rosewood is probably one of my favorites on there. And this is one of those things where it's like extremely hard to pick a favorite because there's so many great songs on it that I'm like, oh, this is my, no, you know what? This one's my, I never had such a difficult time as I did with this one because there were so many great songs.
All right. So what are your favorite two?
Okay. So I would say Rosewood. Long pause. It's like, it
2,000 years later.
2,000 years later. Tides, probably. Tides is such a dope song.
Facts, bro. I mean, so Rosewood was the song. That's the reason why we're listening to Fragments in the first place, because that came up in a Spotify playlist. Shout out to Spotify for putting me onto some dope music in the past few years. You guys, your algorithm is really kicking ass out there. So good job. Rosewood really hooked me in, and it was instrumental too, right?
No. That one, this. Oh, yeah.
No. Rosewood is instrumental, but
it's such a dope song.
It just hooked me into then realizing, and then the people that he did collaborations with. Well, you're gonna get to it, sir. Guys, I'm hijacking his album review right now. What am I doing?
Rosewood is like a memory of moving and changing location for the better. This is a song that transports you to a better place. See what I did there? It has whispers of what you were fighting for is the very thing that led you to leave. This is the heartstring for me. And probably at the time, my favorite song on the album, but I've listened to it so many times, it's like in a constant battle to the death with some other songs. Adamo, have you ever heard of Tangerine Dream? If you have, then that's what this is. It is a perfect nod or a love letter to Tangerine Dream. And my buddy Matthew DePasquale, I didn't mess up his name because we went to high school together. But
shout out DePasquale.
Shout out. That I'm for sure you would appreciate that very much so. And I know you're big into that. Tangerine Dream. Tides, Dreamscape. This one is perfect for the background of the movie What Dreams May Come. There's a lot of movies in my life. I don't know if you caught that, but yeah, movies and music just go together so well. It's like a perfect symbiosis.
Joe's life is a compilation of different movies and films and soundtracks woven together through him.
Yeah, I'm a walking encyclopedia of movies.
You're a walking canvas.
I am indeed. So it's very lovely. The visuals are amazing in that movie, but the strings pull at your heart in almost an abysmal level. And for this song, it's akin to that. It's not a bad song. It's just sometimes music can put you in different states that keep you feeling alive. Sadness is the reason you embrace joy. And a song like this is needed to remind you of the balance of life. I can't believe I wrote that. That was so dope. You might want to cut that out.
This is BTS right here.
Yeah, totally. All right, Elysian. Such a pretty song. It's a fitting title. Strings and synth blend so well. It's like a walk through Elysian, which is the Greek or Roman mythology of the home of the blessed after death.
I just want to interject really fast. How often do you think about the Romans?
Oh my God, I heard this at work. I actually think more about the Romulan Empire than I do about the Roman Empire.
So that's hilarious because there's either two answers for men.
Mm-hmm.
It's either, well, they have like an actual amount of times they think, or, well, not as much as the Ottoman Empire actually.
Yeah. For me, it's because I'm really into Star Trek, and I'm pretty sure that they had like the way akin to the Roman Empire, the Romulans kept killing off their leader to take over, and that whole like spiral, it's very similar. So pretty often.
Back to your disc dungeon.
Yeah. Closer, the next song on the album, hook from off the bat. Just the drum beat and styles of drums, a really neat mix. Lots of whispers on this album. It's a very nice way to almost be haunting in the delivery. And it's one of the things that I really appreciate because a lot of the music that I listen to, a lot of the vocalists always have like a haunting voice. Like Zoe Johnston and Leah Nash. And currently I'm listening to a lot of Delirium. And there is a woman in Delirium right now that just dropped she didn't just drop her own album, but she has an album out that is incredible. And that's Elysian, Vaporous. Oof. Dope song. It's I'll put you onto that.
Just so you guys know, when we go oof,
that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's so good. Age of Phase, probably the most different song on this album. It's like a step away from everything else and right in the middle of the album. It almost sounds like a xylophone was pulled out of the closet to blend digitally to a new type of sound, which is very pleasing. The vocal distortion is very cool too. From You. This is the fuckboy song on the album. It's Sullen-Eyed Joji is the singer. Great song. Definitely looking to steal the deal with a potential ex.
Yeah, this song, so this is a artist I discovered, Joji, from this album, from this song From You. You guys gotta check out Joji. I might put you that. There might be an episode down the line where I put you on the Joji, bro.
You do Joji, I'll do Elysian. I think that's gonna be the, because I found Elysian by another artist, so it's like the same.
You guys just saw an episode happening.
Yeah, we're
not going to tell you when.
No, it'll be in the future.
It'll happen.
We'll be transported into that one in the future.
We'll transport this one.
So Joji's definitely looking to seal the deal with a potential ex. Come back to me with a new phrase. Don't fall for it, lady. But the way he sings, I'd probably fall for it, lady. Counterpart. This brings us out of the emotional connections and just drift into a synth waves and whispers. The little bounces between your ear set, if you listen to this on your headphones, is a really nice touch. That's one of the things that I really appreciate from artists that was very big in the 70s. Yes, the Beatles, a lot of those cats would do that. And this very, very much reminded me of those types of mixings. Sapien. Oh, snap, drum kit. Hits of a fast steel drum, a little Caribbean. Little Caribbean makes me feel airy. Oh, my Jamaican people just turn this podcast
Fact,
off.
I didn't realize this was some racist shit.
No, it's not racist. I grew up with Jamaicans. They're my best friends.
Really? Did you just hear yourself right now?
I know. Oh, it's okay. I'm black.
Oh, I grew up smoking weed. You know,
yeah, it's okay. Day by Day got real R&B here, and I love it. Nice way to end the album that took you on a mythical music journey. But the flip is the dope saxophone that smooth jazzes it all the way into 344 of the song towards the end. It's like a staple in mixing. Almost everyone is bringing that instrument back. I'm not sure if it's an actual player, but I love the touch because I know there's synth things that you can program to sound like saxophone.
So I'm glad you touched on this, right? Because this is something that, as I did a little deeper dive into Bonobo, I found out. Bonobo has been a DJ for a long time, right? And while he can definitely, he's obviously making electronic music, so he knows how to use these moogs and these sounds, right? But he is very much a believer of infusing that with natural instruments. So that's the difference. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I don't know. I felt that while I've heard other people do electronic kind of like house type feels with his music has these textures, and it comes from the fact that he's using these instruments, these like otherworldly instruments you're hearing. He's actually using a lot of these and playing them and recording them, right? That's why he's able to get these textures that he gets, right?
Slick.
So
love it.
And it kind of just fits that the name of the song, that the name of the album is Fragments.
Yeah, because he's taking all these pieces of and making some of them.
Right. So and remember, I don't know if you remember when we were speaking to Mark Mallman.
Oh,
he knows Bonobo, and he spoke about how his production is just
incredible.
It's just incredible.
Yeah. I forget. Does he know him personally? I think he does.
I mean, if he does, Mark Mallman, if you're listening to this episode, it's up to you now.
Just text me, Mark. Oh
man, so guys, I mean, you usually hear the next section here, and it's called "Music Saves Lives," "Story Saves Lives." Like, we've come up with names, but we finally have landed on pretty good name for this section.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna call this section "Disconnect," DISK connect. And this is the section where we kind of let go. We disconnect. We really kind of like unplug to plug in. Type of concept.
Mm-hmm.
Because this section has always been a part where we're a little more vulnerable. We're talking about our personal experiences and how they relate to music or the music that we've spoken about. So get ready to disconnect. And then I'm gonna have like a sound here, like shoo, shoo, like shoo.
Oh, that's
right, like something like really cool, futuristic.
Yeah.
You guys heard it here first. No, man. I mean, no lie, so much music has transported me that I don't remember them all like specifically. But these are the honorable mentions for me. Right? So Coldplay, Ghost Stories.
Mm-hmm.
That album took me places, man. Bayside, The Walking Wounded. Right. So, I grew up listening to Bayside, and honestly that album, when it came out, I think it was because of who I was and where I was at that time that it really kind of took me places. Low Country by Envy on the Coast. It's another album that just completely transported me. And when I say transported, I don't necessarily mean like, oh, it enlightened me and it revived me. Like, no, like it truly took me somewhere. Like Low Country took me to Low Country. It took me to the feeling of like the South in like a very grungy rock and roll type of way. Coldplay, Ghost Stories took me into space, took me into like, soundscapes, beautiful pop melodies, right? That we know Coldplay for. Channel Orange by Frank Ocean. Man, he literally made me feel like I was flipping through channels of like just music, right? Grace by Jeff Buckley. This puts me in like, honestly, in the place where he died. Like he died on the river after writing his first album, after writing this album and releasing it. He was working on a second album and went out for a swim in a river, and like one of those prairie boats.
Yeah, I remember we touched on that in like an earlier.
Yeah, and then he got
caught in the wave,
afterwake,
right?
Right. So this one transported me honestly to a place like that, like some like old colonial house out by a river, right? Like, kind of not in a creepy way and like in kind of like a brooding,
Yeah.
I want to be alone type of way. Right.
A reflection of in oneself, an inward reflection. Yeah.
That's what that brought me to. And then, Morning View by Incubus.
I remember that album. That's one on mine too.
Oh, I mean,
that's a great.
we need to talk about it. We haven't talked about Incubus at all.
We never.
Episodes, man, and Incubus was a huge. I used to listen to them so much.
Same. Yeah.
All right, so that's just to name a few. I will say it's worth noting that the albums that transported me had cohesive messages. Either through interludes or blending one song into another, or sticking to a strong motif or a certain like sound style, right? So I would say that if I had to kind of note, that would be something that a pattern that I've seen. But yeah, man, I mean, I know transported can be a very broad message, right? But we thought it was so appropriate because an album like Atlas can put you in like a time frame that I didn't even live in the 80s, and it just
to me like Atlas put me right back in the couch. We had this like red leather couch, and I used to, being a kid of size, and I wearing hot shorts in the summertime, gets to get stuck to that leather couch watching those.
Oh yeah,
watching those classic HBO movies from the 80s. Like it just transported me right into smack like those Teenage Witch movies and all that, those 80s classic Back to the Future, and it just fits so well. A lot of stuff that transports me a lot is like Enigma, Mike Oldfield, whom I put you on to the last episode, I believe, or maybe the episode before, with Jay Dilla.
Get your episode straight, bro.
Yeah, I know. I should probably have the list.
It was the episode before the episode.
Before this.
It's the episode that we haven't released yet.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding, guys. We released that episode, but there is an episode we haven't released yet.
No.
It's called The 90s Freestyle.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So look out for that, guys. That'll be coming out.
Yep. Yeah, so a lot of that. Enigma transports me into the time where I leveled up in my own life because there was some changes that happened within my own home unit. So I moved into a bigger room, more space, better views. You're growing up instead of the baby room. You're in this like adult room, and you have more ways to hide things and experience beesh. So it was quite interesting. And that's when I stumbled on Enigma. They were part of a compilation CD that used to buy on TV. For whatever reason, it was called, what was that? Pure Moods. That's what it was.
That's a cool name. Pure
Moods.
Pure Moods.
I found, so like before there was a Spotify and I became friends with Matthew DePasquale, in the early 90s, Pure Moods was the way I would discover all these artists that I love today, like Massive Attack and even Enya. I got all of these people from Pure Moods, and that just reminds me of my grandmother getting the tape of Pure Moods and playing it in her car. So this is a very long time ago. And I remember wanting the Enya song. That might have been on the radio, but it was also on Pure Moods. And literally they ordered it for me. And I think the cassette was like $20 off television.
Holy shit.
Remember that? It was crazy. Prices were crazy back in the day. They always complain about it now. Man, $20 for a cassette?
Well, actually, guys, I don't remember. The oldest form of media, of music, audio format that I remember is CD.
Really?
That's what was prevalent for me maybe in like middle school, right?
So, elementary school, I had the A-track of Peter Gabriel's, I think it was either Us. It was like one of his early, like later but earlier ones. It was one with Sledgehammer on it. So I'm a big Peter Gabriel fan. I should know this off the top of my head, but
Sting, Peter Gabriel, Janis Joplin,
Seal.
The list keeps going, guys.
So
it's a pretty good list.
Yeah. So I had this A-track, and A-track was before cassette tapes.
Correct. Big ass cassette things.
And I just remember Don't Give Up and Sledgehammer. And I just remember flipping the A-track to play those two songs. But that's another one that transports me, because I remember being in the living room, moving to Westchester from Rhode Island, and listening to music. It was the only thing that I really, and I later found out it was the exact same thing my mom did. I would go I would sit on the edge of the couch, put the A-track, the one A-track that I liked, that Peter Gabriel Cell album or A-track, and I would listen to those few songs, and I would flip it and like keep listening to the same songs, and it would be in total darkness, and everybody else would be asleep in the house. And my house, I had this massive house when I was a kid. It was like 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, huge in Westchester. And it was just totally dark. And there's a lot of windows. So like, I'm sure if you pass by, you would see this like wild curly hair flipping, listening to Peter Gabriel. But yeah, FM84 kind of just reminds me of those times where I'm like innocent, pure, and just kind of, enjoying life as it comes along, not really knowing what would happen.
And we're here now, guys.
Yeah, here we are.
Joe, so Tricks of the Keys this week. It's an unknown song. I don't think a lot of people know it. It's called Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh, I gotta stop you right now. That is a very well-known song.
No, I was kidding, guys.
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
But what could be really unknown to a lot of people is that that this song was not originally written for just mainstream, for it's just to be a song. It wasn't written.
It's not a pop charts hit. It is a pop charts hit, but it wasn't written.
But it wasn't written. It's actually came of a product of failure. It was written for a Broadway show about vampires.
Nosferatu. Yes. It was supposed to be the musical of Nosferatu, and it was written by the cohort, the music collaborator for Meatloaf. So shout out to my buddy, the other Mark Fabel. And it was supposed to be a musical based on the original vampire story. And that man is Jin Steinman. And he had a ton of amazing ballads. And it makes so much sense that he wrote this now that I spent so many years knowing the song and going, Total Eclipse of the Heart. It's like, oh yeah, that could have easily been a Meatloaf song.
Facts. And it failed. Didn't make it. They were like, fuck it, we're going to release it anyways. And it hit. Because when a song hits...
It hits. And I had no idea about this until you brought this up. This is a good find.
And I'm the young guy here. So, all right. But crazy. I would like to transport your blood.
Oh, wow. Your earbuds.
I would like to transport your earbuds to... Well, actually, before we go, guys, I'd like Joe right here is going to fill us in on where you can get a little more educated on Dis Dungeon.
You can like, share, and subscribe this actual podcast and share it with your friends. It would be a great way to help us out, help us grow, and be in the know. You can also be sure to follow us on Instagram at Dis Dungeon, Twitter at Dis Dungeon. Everywhere you have social medias, including Facebook and the Metaverse, you can Dis Dungeon us there. And forthcoming very soon in the world of the internets, we'll have disdungeon.com. So be sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things.